The 30th collectible minifig series has just leaked, and with it, some fantastic news for fans of LEGO Castle. So in today's video, we're going to go over the two brand new medieval minifigures, hopefully coming this January. Up first is a child knight who's described as having a sword and a shield depicting a squirrel sigil, and it also apparently comes with a squirrel companion, which I think is fitting. Immediately, this sounds pretty similar to the pink crown knight kid that came out back in, I want to say, Series 23. That figure had more of a costume though, while this squirrel knight sounds like it might be more medieval than the hobby horse wielding crown knight. A squirrel shield is, of course, a first for LEGO Castle, and it has me curious to see what colors this knight will use. Dark green and brown seems like an obvious choice for this fig, but I think it'd be cool to see this faction wear a more unique color scheme, something that we haven't gotten before, and with that in mind, I thought that this faction could look great with a dark tan, medium nougat, and dark orange color scheme. I think the warmer tones would make sense, and would also map onto the real-world red squirrels, so I don't know, I think it'd be a cool fit. I'd love to hear what color scheme you'd like to see on this potential squirrel faction, as I could see a bunch of different colors working here, but definitely a dark green and dark brown scheme would make a lot of sense. Either way, I'm very excited for this figure, as it's one of the more unique sigils that we've ever gotten in LEGO Castle. Beyond the colors though, I am curious how this fig is going to be designed, as we really don't have any details on it from the leak. Will it have its crest printed onto the cloth tabard over chainmail like most modern castle figs, or will it take the route of the Griffin Knights and use a more generic set of armor? I don't know, it's very unclear what this fig will look like right now, but again, I'm excited for it all the same. Moving on, we have the real main event. According to the leak, Series 30 will have a black and yellow knight with a black raven on the shield, a silver mace, shoulder armor, and a cape. If you can't tell, I'm gobsmacked. I could not imagine a more perfect LEGO minifigure for me personally than this. Not only is LEGO bringing back the Raven Knights, but they're recoloring the D&D mace in flat silver, which every Castle fan wanted to see happen back when this piece first came out. Plus, we're getting shoulder armor and a cape. I mean, come on, it's genuinely perfect, and is kind of similar to my Raven Knight Commander and YouTube profile picture. I've always given her a flail since LEGO didn't really produce any maces, apart from the super expensive one that came with the Bear Knight. So again, I am just over the moon about this leak, and I'm still pinching myself. I cannot believe that this is real. Though I am curious how they're going to handle the design of the torso, legs, and helmet. Will we be getting a version of the Raven Knights with their sigil on the torso, or will it be similar to the original fig? Me personally, I'd like to see a more armored version of a Raven Knight without the sigil, but I mean, I don't know, I'm happy either way, and I don't see a world where this figure isn't gorgeous. Going back to the helmet here for a second, we don't have any info on it right now, any of the headgear, what the face looks like, so I don't know, I'd expect LEGO to go with an already existing one that's in production. Which, speaking of, does bring me to my one and only concern about this figure. The Raven Knights use bright light orange and black for the majority of their clothing, with some dark red accents in the gloves and plume. But most importantly, the Ravens use pearl dark gray armor. If this figure comes out with anything but pearl dark gray, I will be devastated. It might not seem like a big deal if you aren't already a super fan of this obscure LEGO Castle faction, but to me, it's everything. I have faith that they'll do this figure justice, but I can't lie that I do have a tiny bit of fear that this figure is going to use flat silver. I really hope this figure doesn't use flat silver, as pearl dark gray is the color for Raven Knight armor, so I hope they don't mess it up. Now, with all that out of the way, this leak is still very early, and it's a little unclear how reliable it is. It first came out on the 24th, but was updated today on the 25th with more information, seemingly. But at the end of the day, I choose to believe, however delusional it might be. I got into LEGO Castle because of the original Tournament Knight minifigure, and I would not be making videos without it, so yeah, I've gotta believe this is real. If it's not real, I will be very, 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 very sad, but I wanted to include this little disclaimer at the end, just in case it ends up being fake, though I think it's gonna end up being real. Again, the Raven Knights are my favorite faction of all time, and I literally would not be into LEGO Castle if it wasn't for this figure. I first saw a couple of mocks for the Raven Knights back in 2022, and it got me super into the theme and to where we are today. So, thank you LEGO if this is real, I am so grateful. I'd love to hear what you all think about this figure in the comments as well, and a big thank you, as always, goes out to my channel members: Gyojo, Faisal, Rio Bricks, Wachtermeister, Ryzen Covers, Peter, Daventria Bricks, Space Marine 5869, Nimble Saucepan, The Squad Up Kid, Bins Yuin, and all of my other members for supporting the channel. And as always, thank you all so much for watching.